Alright guys, this is finally part 3 of the Blood Rage 3D board. It's been a while, but today we're going to take you into the part where we're going to finish off the little bit of scenery, the flocking. So we're going to make everything a little bit more beautiful and a little bit more real. So without further ado, let's dive into it and yeah, see you in a bit. Alright guys. So we are dry brushing with a light gray. Well, yeah, light, medium gray. Just go over it, touch all the raised areas. Just basic dry brushing. That's it. Then we are going over to some red, a very dark purple-ish red, and we're going to make some lines in the rocks, and those lines are going to represent some layers of rocks. A mountain is built up in layers, and yeah, you can have some rust, some organic materials that are stuck between those layers, and it's going to represent that stuff. That's why you get those beautiful lines in natural rock surfaces. They are layered on top of each other, and stuff is in between them. Now a lighter color, just an off-white is perfect. Not a dead white. If you go to dead white, it's very strong. And as you can see, a matte white, so the dead white in a very small amount, just little bits. Don't overdo the white, because the white is going to be very visual. So just a few tips here and there, only the really raised areas. So a very light dry brush. And a little bit of beige, you can call it. So as you can see, it are weird colors, and don't wash your brush in between. Don't wash it, just leave the colors inside. Only wash out the red. Red is terrible actually. So just wash out the red colors. The rest of the colors you can leave it in your brush and dry brush over and over and over with the same colors. So you see a lot of weird colors now that you don't expect. You would say like, that's not the color I want. But believe me, it's fine. There's going to be some washes over it, and it's going to be blended in, and it's actually going to look more beautiful. Your eye is going to tell the differences in colors, and subtle changes in color it will feel more natural. So now we go to the other province. All of these colors are going to be yellowish and beige, so it doesn't really matter which color you use. I use these army painter colors, and yeah, they work, but you don't exactly have to use the same colors as I do. In nature you can find pretty much every color, so whatever you think is beautiful is going to work. And yeah, don't forget that little raised area where the pillage tokens are going to be on. That's, for me, it represents a little bit of a mountain, and don't forget it. It also needs some visual touches, so make it beautiful. So you see, I do wash my brush here, because like I said, red is a very contagious color, and they pick up in pretty much every line. So also the brownish colors are doing the same, and if you then go from a brown to a white, it's going to be eventually brown instead of white. So I do wash it a little bit there. But yeah, all the techniques that you're going to see now is just simple dry brushing, so I leave you to it. And as we say, of course we're going to wash everything again. So the Atrax Earthshade for the brown area. Do it pretty heavily. It's it's beautiful. It's nice. So we are going to lose some colors, and definitely in this situation. We are going to lose with the non-oil. We are going to lose a lot of the red color that we added onto it. We are going to lose a lot of the white colors. So it's going to end up looking more natural. And this, fellas, is actually the beginning of Yggdrasil. So you're going to cut some wires, cut them approximately between 35 and 40 centimeters. And I'm making 8 strings in total, because we have 8 provinces, so 8 branches of the tree. And every branch has, I'm thinking 8 to 10 strings of iron. So you're just going to twist them up, take a little stick for the base, for the trunk of the tree, and roll all of these branches onto it. The bottom of the iron that we just twisted into each other, they're going to represent the roots, and the top end is going to represent the branches. Yeah, and then when all 8 of them are together, wrapped around the trunk of the tree, around the stick, you're going to take some more wire and you're going to tie everything together. Look, there we are making the roots. So we're going to have 8 roots, and eventually we're going to have 8 branches. With the wires, because you have so many wires loose from each other, as you can see here, you can roll them up, twist them up, and then eventually at the points, at the tips, you can make them separate from each other, and you can separate it into 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts, whatever you think is beautiful. How many branches are going to come out of one big branch. Then we are picking up some sealant. Doesn't matter what sealant you use. You can also use hot glue, which maybe works better in my opinion, but this way it also works. You're just going to cover the whole tree in sealant and let it dry. We're going a little bit fast, but just watch the video, guys. And here we're doing some basing, so PVA glue all over, some black rocks, some black fine rocks, fine sandy rocks, and we're going to make a little path, as you can see, from one province to the other. So it will look nice that it will be tied together. The moss green, you put moss green everywhere where you think there would be some shadow, of course, and just check what I do. I build it up in some layers. And the most important thing for building, for flocking like this, is you need to look at it from a perspective from the bottom. Like, just try to visualize if you are flocking on a piece of glass and you flock on it, and then eventually when it dries up you turn over the glass. So everything that you flock first will stick to the PVA glue the most, and everything that comes over it and over it and over it is only going to blend it a little bit. But when you shake everything off, everything that you put on first is going to have the most visuals, is going to stay the best. So everything that you put on last is the first thing to fall off when you turn it over. And then we just punch it a little bit with an old brush, so everything sticks better. Put on some rocks, some little scenery rocks. We'll make it more beautiful. Will look nice. So yeah, I hope it makes a little bit sense what I just say with flocking on on a piece of glass. But yeah, the things that you put on first are going to stick to the PVA glue first, so they are going to stay there. Everything else can fall off and might not be there. Then Yggdrasil, again, paint it in whatever color you think fits best for Yggdrasil. It's a tree. I don't know what colors a tree have. Some trees are green, some trees are more black, some are brown. Doesn't really matter, but use a lot of colors. Try to use as many as you have, because nature provides colors and it will be beautiful the more colors you put in. Now we're going to use the quick shade of Army Painter. Again, I love this stuff for building terrain, because these are the roots actually. I didn't show you on the videos. I also made some roots of iron wire, and did it the same as Yggdrasil, covered it with sealant. We are also going to cover the whole tree of Yggdrasil with sealant, with the quick shade, because it's going to dry up and there is resin in it, and it's going to leave a very tough layer, a very tough protective layer. Just love this stuff. And eventually we are going over to Jotunheim, which is my favorite province, and we're going to put some crackle paste on it. And the crackle paste, put it on thick. The thicker you go, the bigger the cracks are going to be appearing. And we're going to simulate some ice, snowy ice surface. And it will eventually crack. It takes a long time before it cracks actually, so don't worry. Don't go over it with a blower or with a heat gun. I was doing that because I was not patient enough, and eventually it doesn't really crack faster. It just leave it a day and it will crack by itself. I also put some crackled paste in the other province, in the brown province, and I just put a little bit of brown paint into it. Now we're going to dry brush with white the fjords. It's pretty straightforward, everything. I also didn't show you on the video, but with Yggdrasil, after everything that you use with the quick shade of the Army Painter, always, it's a normal step to do, always finish it off with a varnish, with an anti-shine varnish. This is the end result of Jotunheim after dry brushing, and when the crackle paint is dried up. Then we add some flocks of snow, and of course also on Yggdrasil itself, on the province. Just play around a little bit. When you are placing rocks and scenery, always be careful not to place too much in the middle of the province, or just make sure that you leave some space, because later on we are going to put some 3D prints there with the names of each province, because they are important to know. So yeah, I made a few mistakes during this build that I had to rip off some pieces of stone because I totally forgot that the names are going to be there. So now again, PVA glue, flocking, just do what I do or do what you think looks better. When you're working with rocks, the most beautiful thing you can do is work with big rocks and then always add some few smaller rocks or sandy rocks after. It's never really nice to only have big rocks. It looks pretty awkward. Yeah guys, this is pretty much it. When the PVA glue dries up, you just shake it off. Shake off all the excess material and let it dry up completely. And yeah, see you in a bit. So yeah guys, that's it. Part 3 is over. It is all going a little bit rushed, I know. But this project is actually so kind of big that I believe we want to rush it over, and we want to go over as fast as possible. Otherwise we are going to end up with a video footage of let's say 6 hours. Nobody's waiting for that. So yeah, just comments below if you have any questions. If things go too fast, I'm here to help you out. And yeah, this is Nick. Games up, next level board gaming. Bye.